The night has come to don garments of ghoulish delight. But one question remains on this Halloween night. Which costumes are wrong, and which ones are right?
I've taken the liberty of breaking down every possible Halloween costume into a list of categories. And yes, there's a bit of overlap with the categories, and presumably, one could borrow traits from different tiers to either rise or fall in the ranks. But to start us off, everything falls underneath two large umbrellas. So sit down and shut up because school's in session. Welcome to Halloween 101, motherfuckers. Also, don't be afraid to raise your hands if you have any questions, okay? Now, as previously discussed, all of the Halloween costumes fall under two large umbrella categories: homemade and store-bought. And to the untrained eye, you might think it's just these two large umbrellas. But I lied to you, because each of these split into their own distinct categories as well. So this feels like it's gonna fall, so I'm just gonna hold it. This is also itching me, so those categories being, oh Jesus! Homemade splits into crafty homemade and thrown together homemade. If you're crafty, good with a glue gun, duct tape, and scissors, you can throw something together that's great. It almost looks store-bought, in fact. Whereas thrown together homemade, it's still got that homemade factor, which I think bumps it up the list, but, it's got that laziness factor. These can easily be demonstrated with the costume I wore recently, Voldemort. Now you might think, oh yeah, this is crafty, or you might be thinking this is thrown together. Well, the answer is it's a little bit of both, because on the one hand, that's my graduation robe, flipped inside out. Crafty, clever, very cool. On the other hand, I did a bit of a chop job, slathering that gray paint all over my shitty bald cap. Crafty homemade, S tier, and thrown together homemade, B tier. Now back to store-bought. You've got store-bought. Ching! Sound effect. And then there's also bought at a store. Now this may be controversial, but if you buy your costume at a store, boo! Now that being said, if you blow the big bucks, get real ritzy and get something like a full-ass suit of armor from the store, okay, now we're talking. Or you could just get it from the store for 20 bucks at a Spirit Halloween, and it looks like it's made out of the bisection of a tissue. I'm not talking the full tissue, just a part of it. It looks real delicate. You get one wear out of this before it starts falling apart. Even the big bucks store-bought is probably gonna land in the B tier, and then bought at a store is just on the cusp of C tier. Now let's tackle the elephant in the room, or should I say the elephant wearing a bikini in the room. Because Halloween is a time for sexy. Sexy costumes come out of the woodwork at Halloween. Everybody's dressing like ghouls, goblins, and everything of the like. It's a great excuse to show off the delicacies that you've homegrown yourself. But if you ask me, sexy is a little basic. I feel like you're either going to be a black cat, a witch, an angel, or a devil, and while I love it on my lady, sexy by itself seems a bit just C tier. But now we get the subcategories of sexy. For example, sexy scary. On the one hand, I'm titillated. On the other hand, I'm terrified. I'm a big fan of juxtaposition, an action comedy, a horror romance, and just for that factor alone, I'm gonna go ahead and slide it up into the B tier. And then there's funny sexy. Let's say a la Bigfoot in a bikini, or maybe a sexy little ghost. They're see-through, ooh, but also you can see their intestines. One might say scary sexy kinda toes the line towards funny sexy, but funny sexy is more the funny in mind than the scary in mind. I'm a big fan of fun, so I'm gonna throw it in A tier. Now let's take a step away from the boobs and butts and get over to the pecs and the glutes with superheroes. It seems like every Halloween, someone's a superhero. Often a little kid, which is more cute than an adult being a superhero. Little kid superhero, B tier. Adult superhero, I'm gonna say it, D tier. And yes, I fall into the folly of being a superhero, but I made my costume by hand. That's pretty efficient. Everybody's seen it, everybody's done it, and also I feel like a lot of the superhero costumes are usually bought from the store. In a similar vein of superhero, we have movie character. Now, while I think a movie character is a little bit better, and often, each year it changes. This year, we're probably gonna see a lot of Ken and Barbie. Batman comes out, everybody's gonna be Batman. Joker comes out, everybody's gonna be Joker. I'm gonna have to throw it down in the C tier.
Hey, Editor Carter here with a quick note. Seems like I just skimmed over TV or video game character. Since those are just a little more niche than a movie character, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the B tier.
But on the other hand, tertiary movie characters are a completely different thing in themselves. This isn't the main character, this is a side character that only some people might remember, or it might be very popular, but nonetheless it takes that extra step to be Alan, or to be Will Ferrell from Barbie. And that I like. B tier for a tertiary movie character, and similarly, if you're a character from some sort of cult classic that not a lot of people know, A tier. For those people, C tier for anybody else, because they don't know what you're dressed as. Apparently one year when my brother was in college, he dressed as Quail Man. And if you knew what Quail Man was and what he was from, you were like, hell yeah, that's awesome. But if you didn't, you said, I'm so angry and confused, I want to punch that kid. And somebody did, which is a bummer, because little did they know, he was wearing an A tier costume. Or should I say Q tier for Quail Man. Quail Man is from the show Doug. It's a 90s Nick cartoon. Educate yourself. And of course, you can't have Halloween without...
When are we gonna do scary?
What's that? Yes.
You said it's a Halloween costume tier list. Shouldn't scary be
Oh
on
yeah,
there?
well if you had let me finish, you would have noticed that I put scary right here! I was literally one letter into saying
I
it!
thought there weren't any dumb questions. Sorry.
There are no dumb questions. Thank you for asking. Scary. The cryptic costume classic. It's Halloween, you're wearing something scary, and while I am a little bit of a wuss, admittedly, I respect it. S for scary. And now in a similar vein of scary, you have the Halloween movie character. You're picking an icon, you're picking Freddy, you're picking Jason. You're doing something like that. But I feel like it's always that. And for that, I'm gonna do B tier. It's still good. It's still fine. And I feel like I'm being a little too gracious with these rankings. For being Spooktober and all, I feel like I should be a little more evil. Who am I looking at? Is there a class here? You have to determine right now if there's a class to continue doing this bit. Well, no, you've already ripped like 6 notes in half, so. Now, I'm a big fan of this, dead version of a thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just say A tier right off the bat. This is when you are a dead bride, or a dead groom, or a dead deer, or dead alligator, or you're a dead tourist, or skeleton bride, or skeleton construction worker, or skeleton tightrope walker. We get the idea. Often goes with zombified, but it's a step above zombie, which would just usually fall underneath scary, unless you were like the zombie from Hocus Pocus. But that'd be like a tertiary Halloween movie character, and then you get the points from being a tertiary movie character, which, as we've all discussed, is better than just a normal movie character. Yes, okay. Sometimes people just dress up as animals. That's fine. But it's fine. D tier. I said I'd be evil bitch. I don't know. I wonder how much of this I'm gonna cut out. Movie monster. Oh, Professor Carter, I thought we just talked about Freddy and Jason. Yeah, well, I guess those could be movie monsters, but I'm more going for like the Swamp Thing, Dracula, werewolf, an actual monster, a creature. Like everybody from granddad to grandson is gonna get it. Movie monster. It's not original at all, but it's S tier. Unless it was bought at a store or falls under any of the other rankings that pull its ranking down. That's right, you guys are really good at this. But now that we've all had our spines shivered and been sufficiently spooked out, why don't we slide on over to funny? If you fall under funny, your costume automatically gets a yes from me. While you're scared shitless because the shit is in your pants, it's nice to laugh at it. Makes the situation suck less. It's kind of like when you and your friends are watching that really scary movie in the basement of the sleepover and everybody keeps cracking jokes because they're all afraid they're gonna piss themselves, and then they're gonna have to sleep in that because they're in a sleeping bag and Todd doesn't bring any f***ing blankets. Last time I didn't bring a sleeping bag, Todd made me sleep with an old pair of sweatpants as a blanket. What am I gonna do, Todd? What am I gonna... Yeah, funny. I mean, just normal funny, it's A tier. Let's kind of slide over to the people that think they're being funny. Low effort. Now this isn't a dig. I've done this before. Everybody's done this before. You drew Boo on a white shirt. You put on a cowboy hat and said you're a cowboy. You drew a lightning bolt and you didn't even wear glasses. F tier. Low effort to be funny. Now you might be thinking, oh, Carter, you love funny, you just said earlier, but you also said you hate low effort. So how does, it works out exactly how you think. I'm feeling mean, let's say D tier. This is Jim from The Office. I think Jim pulls it off great. He might be that rare C tier low effort to be funny. He's wearing 3 dots on his shirt because he's a 3-hole punch. That's funny, Jim, but also like, you're not wearing a costume, man. Next in the low effort family, we have low effort but making fun of Jim. This has multiple levels of irony. This is where you dress up as Jim, you make your hair look like Jim, and then you do the 3-hole punch costume that Jim did from The Office. Funny, C tier. And then low effort because don't want to dress up. That's automatic F tier. quick break from all that criticism and ridicule and come on over to pet costumes. Obviously for this you're gonna have to be an animal, so none of you would qualify unless you're watching this with your cat or dog. If you are a cat, dog, bird, horse, or reptile, or whatever pet someone might have, and you're dressed up, that's a win. A for animal. Pet and parent costume. Now, if you have a pet, you can do this. You, the pet parent, and your pet dress up in costumes that match. I don't care if it's corny, classic, or a little bit on the nose, like Batman and Robin. That's an S tier for sure. S for sad, because you didn't have anybody else to dress up with? It's okay. I'm kidding, oh my god. Now if we reminisce on the minutes where we were talking about superheroes and movie characters, I'd like to slide on over to original IP. This is when you dress as your own character. It doesn't matter if you're a 6-year-old dressing as Super Guy or a 24-year-old dressing as Captain Carter. That's fun, and that's cool, and I applaud your originality. But B tier for lack of recognizability, and also because not everybody's ideas are cool. But if there's one thing we know about original IPs, it's that the media conglomerate Disney will snatch it up soon. So on to Disney Kid. For this, you're gonna have to be a kid. If you dress as a character from a Disney movie, it's cool, it's fun, it's cute, everybody recognizes it, but also it's Disney, so like, come on, C for come on. But an even worse offense is a Disney adult. If you are an adult and you're not dressing up as a Disney character with your child, you're just dressing up as a Disney character on your own, unless it's like a cool one, D tier. But say you are a parent or a kid and you're dressing up together, you are wearing a family costume. They take coordination on multiple accounts. You gotta make everybody in the family wear the costume, and that's a good amount of effort. A tier.
Hey, Editor Carter here again. Seems we've left out friend groups, and because this takes a little more effort than a family group, because it's hard to get your friends to all do one thing in general. That's a S tier for sure.
But oh no, what's this? Corny family costume. Dun, dun, dun. This is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This is the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Little Piggies. This is a bunch of ears of corn. I kind of like that one actually. Corny, C tier. There's other options. Like for example, a toothbrush holder and toothbrushes. Those would fall underneath the everyday items category. It lands in the funny category. I feel like it can be good or bad. B tier. B tier for the originality, because nobody thinks to dress up as a hairbrush or a printer or a chair, you know? Morph suits. Those are those weird skin-tight suits that come in every single color of the rainbow and sometimes have designs on them. But because they stick to every single curve and inch of your body and show off all your giblets, it looks like they're wearing like a plastic bag over their head. And I'm just not a fan of that. Also, like wearing that, I feel like your mouth would just be full of spit by the end of the day, right? D tier for damn, I should have worn shorts with this. In the vein of not seeing someone's face, let's go with mask only. A lot of people like to wear just a bunch of black clothes or maybe a flannel and then some spooky mask. Low effort, not cool. Could be a cool mask, but like, come on, you know, at least zhuzh up the neck down as well. D tier. Blow up costumes. The only one that comes to mind right now is like that T-Rex. That f***ing T-Rex. I will act happy if I see it. I don't think I ever am. Maybe when they waddle away and their head does the funny thing, but for the most part, no, not a fan. Not a fan at all. I want to put a pair of Caesars in it, C tier. Makeup / body paint. This takes a lot of effort and a lot of attention to detail and like a lot of dedication to just wear like slimy makeup all over your body and face all day. So A tier. Now we've come down to the final choices. You might have seen these floating around on the sign, me holding them up, guessing what is this. These are the experimental categories. First off is Photoshop. You didn't wear a costume, or you wore a bad costume. You get home, you want to post about it on Instagram, you got that group picture, but what are you going to do? You look like this. I don't mean doing like airbrush shit to make yourself look better. I mean the total addition, subtraction of elements to your costume, if not the whole thing. If it's super obvious, it's funny. If you pull it off, wow. Still you cheated. C for C tier. Rotoscoping. It's like Photoshop, but at like 24 frames a second. You track the costume on your body in a video, that's a win. B tier. Now, an auto boost in any costume is if you stay in character the whole time. Granted, you're not being annoying about it. This is hilarious. I've watched both the Hocus Pocuses recently, and anytime the witches are out in public and people just think they're in costume, I'm tickled. I'm tickled pink. I'm tickled green, maybe. Oh, like a witch. A tier for awesome commitment. And then the final tier, not a costume, I'm an actual demon or serial killer or monster, and I'm just blending in at the party. This is the actual Hocus Pocus effect. Imagine Freddy Krueger just shows up at a party. He's just hanging out. Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? Look at my claws. Cuts a bitch's head off. That's crazy, and everybody will be scarred for life. S tier. So, class, what have we learned today?
For the best costume, you have to be a real demon with friends and a pet and dress as a scary homemade movie monster.
Good, very good.
The E tier doesn't exist for some reason.
Yes.
The worst costume is someone who doesn't dress up or puts in a half-ass effort. We should subscribe for more hot takes
You
and
betcha.
funny goofs.
I have no idea what they're gonna say, because the results of this will be determined in the editing bay. Much like our costumes in the last few rankings, I'm gonna do it in post. Nonetheless, thank you all for coming to virtual class today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for extra credit. And I will see you all next time I make a video, which will be next month, I guess, right? That's what I do. But before we go, I want to thank my patrons. They're scrolling by right now. You can find the link to all that in my description and bio and whatnot. Bonus content, bloopers and stuff on occasion, and you get your name right here. Speaking of which, I want to thank my little helpers, Bobby Lou, Foxy Grandma, Cronkleton, and River Gordon. And I want to give an even bigger thank you to my big helpers, Southern Star Tractor and Indy Solar. Thank you guys all very much. I appreciate your support, and
Happy Halloween!